The best.
No, for honors mine, honors mine. Thank you, thank you. So here we are. We're having our seller seminar. Everything you will need to know about selling your property in today's market. My name is Jason Smith with the Jason Smith Showcase team in Miami, Florida. Our website is showcasemiami.com. You can connect with us on social media. It's at Showcase Miami. A little bit about me. I've been in the business for about 21 years now. Primarily a listing agent is what I focus on, helping sellers list and sell properties. So today I'll be sharing some information on getting your property sold in today's market. So first thing I'd like to cover is happy holidays, everyone. Hope you have some time off in the coming days and have a wonderful 2023 ahead. Really wishing you some good rest. And please feel free here to use the chat. If you have any questions that come up as we're going through this material here about selling in today's market. Again, my name is Jason with Jason Smith Showcase team, Keller Williams, Miami. One thing that comes up to mind is seasonality. For my observation over 21 years has been that condos have a slightly different peak season than single family homes. Condos, I see typically in November in Miami, the weather starting to cool down. We're nearing the end of hurricane season at that point. You've got Art Basel that just finished up, bringing people from all over the world with means that could buy a property while they're here, type of thing. So it's a great time to be on the market if you've got a condominium for that you'd like to sell. They could get a pied-à-terre, a second home. Great time to be on the market. And that season, that peak season for the condo market typically ends in April as the weather starts to heat up here in Miami. That's my observation over 21 years. I know that because the phone rings like crazy from November to April. And then after the holidays in February, for instance, is when you start to see the single family market pick up. That's when people start to look in the spring, February, March, April, see what's available. If they're going to make a move to Miami from somewhere else around the world, I notice that they will start to look in the spring. They'll fly down to Miami, and then they'll go under contract in early summer so that they can close by the end of the summer. Therefore, they don't have to have their children's school year interrupted. So those are two peak seasons to consider when selling your home. Condo in Miami, November to April, the very latest. Single family, putting it on the market, say late January, and then ideally you want to have contracts on it by July, prior to school starting back up in late August. So you might be a little bit behind the eight ball if you put it on the market in July. Ideally, better to have it on the market in, say, February, March, April, that type of thing, based on my experience, 21 years in the business. Any questions or comments so far from anyone who's watching this? Maybe in the private chat, you're welcome to do it. Chat with us. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing to consider is pricing. So pricing, we noticed that I just want to show you here. Here's a trend graphics. This is just the market in general. I want to show, for instance, here is if I were to put in what the market is doing. Here is 33133. Does everyone see my screen right here? My screen, my trend graphic screen with a chart in front of you. Zyrel, do you see that?
Not yet, Jason. Please reshare.
Okay, I'll try that again. Okay, share the screen. Okay. I'm going to share. Present, share screen. Thank you very much. Okay, do you see that now? So I believe that's a yes, Ira?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. So basically, this here is Coconut Grove Homes in the 33133. I chose single family right over here, residential single family, say between 1 and $2 million. And this gives us an idea of what is for sale. And Zyrel, just so you know, is my assistant / head of operations. So hello, Zyrel. Thank you for helping us during this little webinar that we're having today. Okay, so here is this is the data. This is the MLS in graph form. So this isn't media. This isn't conjecture. These are actual data. These actual figures and numbers for Coconut Grove, single family only, between 1 million and 2 million over the last 14 months. So what we can see is in the most recent data, which is November, there were 22 homes for sale on the right of the screen in the light green, 22 homes for sale, 6 went under contract, and 5 closed, which is actually, you're seeing the inventory go down in the last 4 months. So it's getting to be better and better for sellers over the last 4 months in Coconut Grove between 1 and 2 million. Interesting. And then if you compare to last year, you saw even less, 6 homes available, 4 homes available, 9 homes compared to the 22 that we have today. The bottom line is that the trend is good. We're having less inventory as we end up the year, which is a good sign. One thing that we like to do is we divide the number of homes divided by the number that have closed. So 22 divided by 5, that would give us 4.4 months of inventory. So 6 months is a balanced market where neither the seller nor the buyer has the advantage in the marketplace. And of course, you know, as we saw the last 3 years nationwide, Coconut Grove is no exception. There was some months less than 1 month of inventory, meaning everything on the market would sell in less than 1 month if nothing else came on the market. So that was November of last year, less than 1 month of inventory. December of last year, exactly a year ago, less than half a month of inventory. Incredible seller's market where the prices were appreciating. So here we are. We had a blip in May of 2022 where there was 20 months, but that was an exaggeration. That was aberrant. Then we generally had, after the interest rate hike that was announced in June, we saw the months of inventory did increase to a peak of 9 months. So it was slightly in the buyer's range again in September. And then it went down last 2 months to seller advantage because it's less than 6 months. And then you could change the price points, you could change neighborhoods, and we could find this out for any property that you have. But let me just give an example of another property. Let's say we go to Coconut Grove, for instance, single family, let's say $3 to $4 million instead of 1 to 3. See what the inventory is doing there because it's a seller advantage between 1 and 2. So 3 to 4 is show chart. So as is expected, fewer buyers for a 3 to 4 million range versus 1 to 2. And we're seeing that there is a buyer advantage because it's over 6 months. It's 14 months of inventory this past month. The month before that was 7.5 months. Month before that, 15 months. Before that was 3 months. So seller advantage, buyer advantage, seller advantage. But, you know, before the interest rates were increased back in June, the announcement, it was a seller advantage for, you know, most of the time for 2 or 3 years. So that's some information to consider. And that can be done if you want to reach out to me offline. My cell phone number is 786-326-8115, 786-326-8115. I'd be happy to give you that information for your specific property, wherever it may be in Dade or Broward County. Okay? Condo, single family, townhouse, you name it. Going to go back here.
Hugo would like to check the 33193 code.
331. Okay, so would that be what price range would that be, and would that be a single family, Hugo?
Yes,
Thank you,
single family within $500,000 and $1 million. This is no high profile zip code. It's a medium class zip code. You can see about within $500,000, $500,000 and $1 million.
Okay, let's do that right now. Going to take a look at that.
It will mute.
Okay, let's see here. Okay. So we're going to look here, the 33193. So I'll unclick the Coconut Grove zip code, go to 33193. Okay, and then we'll go down to single family again, and we're looking between $500 and $1 million. So what would one expect to see here if one were to take a guess? What would you guess the months of inventory are here? We'll see. Okay. So in the 33193 zip code, single family, between 500 and a million, it's a balanced market. Still, it's slight seller advantage at 5.2 months of inventory, 4.7 months the previous month. Before that, 2.2. So pretty much for the last 14 months, it's been neutral market to seller advantage. And if we look at the for sale versus sold, we can get an idea of the inventory, what it looked like. So we did see the inventory climbing in June. It went from 18 homes on the market, 14, 11 homes to 3 times the inventory, 31, 33, 29. So yes, we see an increase in inventory, yet we're still seeing consumption in that price range. So again, looking back, so we saw it, same narrative, less than a month in March of 2022, less than a month in April, less than 2 months of inventory, which is an appreciating market. Then in August, it was still seller advantage, but just barely, down to seller advantage in September. So does that answer your question, Hugo?
Yes, Jason. I did this a few days ago in NLS, and just wanted to confirm that I did good. Yes.
Good. Okay.
Excellent. I did. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So far we've covered the months of inventory wherever you are to customize it to make sure that it's applicable to your home wherever you're selling. We've also talked about seasonality. Interest rates are, and that they're a factor right now. So if you're selling your home, you want to address the interest rates and have in the remarks some type of message in terms of what type of special financing you can offer, or maybe a seller contribution towards closing costs, or a buy down of the mortgage rate. And I'd like to just mention something here, type of language that one would use. For instance, you can get a first year rate of 4.95%, and then a second year going to 5.95, something like that. I'm looking here at the exact language that one can use. So I met with the mortgage broker, my mortgage broker contact today, who told me what they're using. Or use a seller credit for closing costs, permanent buy down, mortgage insurance, or long-term rate lock. So there's all kinds of options you can do. So here, this is what you can consider having in the remarks of your listing to operate in today's market, right? Wasn't necessary 6 months, 7 months ago, but today it's helpful. You'll get more eyes on your property. The advertised annual percentage rate is based on a 2-1 buy down when financing is provided by blank bank. Okay. The terms for this 2-1 buy down include a 4.95% for year 1, 5.95% for year 2, and 6.95% for year number 3 and beyond. So where you'd have it's an adjustable rate mortgage for 2 years, and it costs about 1% for the seller to offer this to the buyer. The difference between the adjustable rate ARM mortgages that we saw back 10 years ago is that there's a ceiling on what this mortgage product would be. So the buyer knows, okay, I'm getting a lower rate than market rate for year 1. I'm getting a lower rate than market rate for year 2. And it will go up to a max of such and such a price if interest rates continue to rise. If they don't, which some people depend, nobody has a crystal ball, but the idea is that you would refinance when and if mortgage rates come down in the future. So that's the mortgage product that we're seeing now, which is moving home. So you definitely want to have somebody who's managing that process for you, who's familiar and understands that process. Okay. So we talked about that. And just a thought. Let's see. I mean, there's been some some talk about the interest rates, if one wants to move forward. I think, Zyrel, can you give us some perspective on interest rates right now? Can you share that screen that talks about interest rates? Thank you so much. So basically here is an image of the mortgage rates for the last 50 years. And you can see that in 2022, we've had 5.97 in the 7% range. The interesting piece is that today's interest rate, oh, thank you so much, much better. To put things in perspective, right now, we are at a lower interest rate than we've had for the average of the last 50 years. So very important to gain perspective on the whole situation. Yes, we had 2.8% interest rates maybe a year or so ago, but the rates that we have now are less than the average of the last 50 years. Something to consider. I mean, look back here in 1980, in the 80s, you saw 16.63% was the peak in terms of the mortgage rate. So something to consider. Get the home that you like now, and then you can always refinance later is an option. If interest rates do continue to climb, at least you were able to sell your property now in today's interest rate environment instead of later on. If it goes down, you can, and you're the buyer, you can refinance later. So there's all kinds of good reasons to be selling now in today's interest rate environment and to be buying now. So that's another factor as far as the interest rates are concerned. And then one thing that we like to say is that when you're selling your property, we're in a price war and a beauty contest. And you have to win both the price war and the beauty contest when selling your property. So something to consider. Staging is a really good option to have. This is another thing. Thank you, Zyrel. This shows the 4% appreciation for single family homes, for homes in general, I should say, nationwide since 1991. The trend line has been 4% increase since 1991, 4%. And we're seeing that, yes, in 2021, we were over that 4% trend line. And then same thing with 2022. And then there was a while there where between 2009 and 2020, so for 11 years, we were below that 4% trend line. And with all the seller activity that we had 2021, we caught back up to being at the trend line. And that's basically where we've been. Thank you. I appreciate you showing that slide, Zyrel. Yeah, I'd say another thing to consider when you're selling a property is to make sure that you have a team or an agent where you don't miss a single showing, because especially when if there's more in the buyer's favor, every showing counts, and you really want to lock in and you want to make sure that you're following up on every single showing. A seller would like to know if we get some feedback on the property, what were your thoughts on the property? That's an important piece. We're more in a skills-based experience counts market these days compared to the last 2 or 3 years. Definitely not missing a single showing. The stage, if one were to stage it, that definitely helps. We had a listing not too long ago that had been on the market with 2 different realtors before us, and the property had gotten stale, is the term that we like to use, stale. And excuse me for just a second. Pardon the interruption, folks. It had gotten stale because it had been on the market for 3 years, and people were wondering what's wrong with the property. It's a gorgeous property. We're in a seller's market. We're in the pandemic. Why isn't it selling? And the reason was it had gotten stale. It was overpriced to begin with, and then it was vacant, and it needed some staging. It needed more light inside the house. It was very dark, so make sure that you got plenty of it's light, not lots of natural light or artificial light if necessary. This home also, it didn't have any furniture, so we invited a stager in, professional stager, to give a consultation. And the seller was able to choose, was presented by the stager with 3 options: either the basic package, the medium package, or the every room, including the rooftop terrace. stage package, and the seller opted for the full package, and that definitely made a big difference. We were able to get 2 offers within about 60 days, and it closed for about a few $1,000s over the asking price after having been on the market for 3 years. That's how much staging matters. And if you're going to just stage one room, it's the living room, according to the National Association of Realtors, that makes the most impact, the best return on your investment is the living room. Oh, great. Thank you, Zyrel. So here's a picture of one of our properties with real staging before and after back there. This is an idea of what right there. If you want to stay on track, that's really great, Zyrel. This is some of the marketing that we propose to make sure you have cast the widest possible net for buyers, with some of the information that she was sharing right there. Global audience, Keller Williams is the largest real estate company in the world with almost 200,000 realtors, 53 different countries throughout North America, South America, Asia, Europe. So you want to have that wide net to get the most possible buyers. Another option is virtual staging. So if you're saying, I want staging, but I don't have the budget to pay for the staging, we, the Jason Smith team, will offer virtual staging, which we will pay for. So basically you can see a before and after of each room, showing what it would look like with photos, with furniture and without furniture. So here's 2 examples of a recent listing that we had. This was an expired listing that didn't sell the first time, but when we put the virtual staging in there, it sold very quickly. Thank you for showing that example, Zyrel. So we've shown the charts, we've shown trend graphics, and those are some of the things to consider. Of course, you've got to have great pictures, great images. The picture's worth 1,000 words, and as people are searching online, as most people do these days, is your image going to pop? I mean, many of the listings that we get, Zyrel just showed one right there. It was an expired listing that had inferior photos before. So we had a professional photographer come in, get it at just the right time of day when the sun was setting, illuminating the interior of the house. It'd be great if you could show that picture again, Zyrel. It was the one with a pool right there. Just showing the picture of the house at a certain time of day will really enhance it, and it shows as a much different property online when people are scrolling through thousands of homes for sale. So that really is, if there's any questions that come to mind, staging we've covered. This is the one right here. So this was an expired listing. Thank you, Zyrel. That one was an expired listing, and it looked nowhere like this on the previous listing, but we knew that this was an amazing piece of property. So we had it by having it at this time when the sun was setting, we were able to illuminate the house and just show how much volume and how the ceilings were, how unique this property was. Plus, the pool just came out with a beautiful hue, a beautiful color at that time of night. Plus, you have a professional photographer, and that image is what sealed it, and it did sell very quickly. After that, we did have 2 offers on it. So the images matter. Zyrel, would you mind showing a drone video so this is another piece of the puzzle in order to give these international and national buyers a sense of place. We're not just promoting the structure, showing images of the structure, we're giving a sense of place so people can imagine. Here's one of our current listings in Coconut Grove. Thank you so much, Zyrel. Appreciate that. So that's a very good example of we're really selling a lifestyle. That house in particular, so close to downtown Miami, so it's a very short commute. You can walk your dog, you can rollerblade to Rickenbacker Causeway and have these amazing water views to your right and the left. Cyclists love it. This home is just so close to everything. So we really wanted to make sure that people understood that they're not just buying a ranch style, a remodeled ranch style home. They're buying something in one of the best areas of Miami, 15 feet above sea level. So it's a beautiful, beautiful property that's offered at 259 Shore Drive East is the address for that property. If you're interested, we could be happy to show it to you. What else can I tell you? Any other
We
questions?
have a question from Hugo. Could we staging pictures for land too, like putting a virtual cabin on it?
Great question, Zyrel. Hugo. Yes, as a matter of fact, what we've done in the past is you can also, if you've got this beautiful piece of land, like say what we've done at least is we have a house with a yard that has no pool. We can virtually insert a pool so you can show the before, the as is before with no pool, and show what the potential is, what it would look like if there were a pool in this yard. So we can absolutely do that. It's a very important question that you just asked right there. Yes, you can do virtual staging. I would imagine as far as a cabin, yes, you could do that as long as there's full disclosure that this is land only. There's no cabin here. If you want to show people almost like a rendering of what could go there to spark people's imagination. Great question, Hugo. And that's pretty much it. I mean, if there's anything else I can answer for you, again, my number is right here on the screen, 786-326-8115. We've touched the tip of the iceberg of the things that we do to get homes sold. But we're here. I'm here to answer any personal questions about your property, whether it's here or anywhere in the Keller Williams system, which is 53 countries. But our primary area of focus is Miami-Dade County. And 21 years in the business. Very proud to say on the Agent Leadership Council here is with the Keller Williams Capital here in Coconut Grove, Coral Gables Market Center. And we've helped many sellers over the years and would love to help to serve you. Our website is showcasemiami.com. And we can follow us on social media. It's at Showcase Miami. And please, if you'd like to get emails of the listings that we're getting that are being introduced to the market, please let us know and we'll make sure that you're on our weekly mailing list for those as well. My number, 786-326-8115. Any other questions, folks?
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Hugo.
Much appreciated, bro.
My pleasure. And thank you, Zyrel. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, everyone.
Bye-bye. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank
You
Take
too.
care. Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.